Hey guys, welcome back. Epic is a word that gets bandied around on the internet by everyone. I do it. I'm sure maybe you have done it once or twice. It's just a word that gets overused when we talk about games. So much so that it really loses a lot of its punch. And that's unfortunate because that is one of the words that I want to use to describe this game right here. Grandia 2 for the Dreamcast. It's also on the PS2. So we'll talk about that in a minute, though. I have put the legwork in on this game, by God. Yesterday, I'm on my vacation now, my gamecation, as I'm calling it, because I'm trying to burn through a couple games here. I don't think I'm going to get through more than one, but yesterday, I did nothing but play this. Today, I almost did nothing but play this. Finished it up just, 20 minutes ago. So if there was ever a word to describe this game, it is epic. I love this game. For me, personally, it's a perfect 10. If I were to do ratings, but I found this game to be pretty perfect. I made myself a little cheat sheet here so I can talk about everything, since the Wild Arms game, I forgot to talk about the music. I loved Grandia 1. I loved its innocence, and I loved the sort of the feeling you got traveling with Justin, Fina, and Sue, and how you really got to feel for the characters. You really, all joking aside about the voice acting, by the end of the game, you really felt like you knew these characters. And the same goes for Grandia 2. Ryudo, he starts off as kind of a dickhead. Sorry, that's how he starts off as. You got Elena, you got Millennia, Ruin, Marag, and Tio to a lesser extent, but they're really the core group. Once again, is one guy and two chicks, and the love triangle between them. Thinking about it, if I were in Ryudo's shoes, I would pick Millennia. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but between the sultry Millennia and the chaste Elena, I would go with Millennia, even though I think she'd probably, bend me in half. But, the storyline was pretty fantastic. I really loved, how these characters kind of grew together. Marag and Tio's story, especially, is quite interesting. It does lose a little bit of the innocence from Grandia 1, with Justin and Sue being these kids. There was a sense of adventure. They were just going out on an adventure, and they got wrapped up into these huge events. Whereas this game, it almost feels like you get wrapped up in the events from the get-go. It's not just, oh, let's have an adventure. It's let's save the world from the get-go. So there is that kind of aspect to it where it does lose the innocence of the first game. But as you're going along, and the characters have their interactions, which Grandia has a great thing where the characters just sit around a table at an inn, and you can select each individual character and have them talk about whatever's on their mind, and you get this conversation going. And you can select, just keep selecting Elena the entire time and listen to her stuff, or Ruon, and try to listen to all his stuff. Or you can try to bounce it back and forth between them to make it seem like they're having an actual real conversation. I really love this part of the game. I wish more games would just, take a second out of all the world-saving nonsense and just let the characters just talk about what's going on, and what's going on in their heads and stuff like that. It really does allow you to kind of sit back and take a breather with the characters and really get to know them a little bit better. The storyline, it's kind of got that typical JRPG thing where we're going to go fight God, and you think you're on the force of good and you're fighting the force of evil, but then as the game progresses, you really realize that there is no real good or evil. It's all kind of the same, and you're just fighting to not so much survive, but to create a world in which people can live truly free. So, here in the West, we're very, at least in America, I don't want to lump the whole Western culture into this, but at least in America, we're very like God-centric people. Like no, I shouldn't say we because I don't really lump myself into that, but there seems to be this idea that we always have to go with God's will or blah blah blah. I don't know. I'm just kind of talking on my ass. But in the Japanese culture, their games and their movies and stuff, it just seems like they're always fighting God to, create this free world. So I'm not too sure, religiously how that, why that is, But, it is kind of a cool aspect to think about. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. But, the storyline is very good, very epic. And honestly, I didn't want it to end. That's a true testament of a great game, is when you just don't want it to end because you're having so much fun playing. So the music, much like Grandia 1, the music really uses a lot of ambient tracks when you're going around in different dungeons and stuff. And the few times that the score really comes in, like you get that the big Grandia theme from, Grandia 1. You get that big, bum 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 bum. That's horrible, but anyway, you know what I'm saying. And the few times that they actually really do use music instead of just like ambient beats to kind of be in the background is really nice, and it really kind of helps propel the story forward, that you're not always being thrust with this, huge bombastic music. The graphics. We'll go with the graphics next, yes. I love Dreamcast graphics. I don't know what it is about the Dreamcast, because, you look at PS2 graphics, and then you look at PS1 graphics, and then you look at the Dreamcast graphics. There's just some kind of charm to the Dreamcast, and I can't quite put my finger on it. But these graphics, for me at least, are fantastic. I love these old school RPG games. We could look at things like Final Fantasy 13. Ah, yes. Gorgeous, beautiful. That's really that's really about one of the only good things I can say about Final Fantasy 13 is graphically it was beautiful. But when I put this in and I saw all these old FMV, not FMV, but CGI, at the time, which was high rendered stuff, there's just a certain charm to it now that I really do enjoy. Most, like in what I said in Wild Arms, most 3D graphics I don't really care for because I don't think they aged really well. But the graphics in Grandia 2, I'm actually really surprised at how well the graphics have aged. But if a lot of you young kids out there, you're used to playing like these really graphically powerful games. If you put this in, you might be a little disappointed with it. But for an old school guy like me, I really did enjoy these graphics. Gameplay wise, what can you say? It's Grandia. My God, this is this is the best turn-based battle system I have ever played. It's just so much fun. I oftentimes, we all do it in JRPGs, we get sick of fighting all the time and we run. I never ran once in this game. Every battle was just such a joy to go through because it's just so fun to try to get through a battle without getting hit. To try to get that perfect battle where you have canceled things so perfectly that the enemies can't attack you. Because that's one of the cool things about this game. You see on the bottom of the screen, you see the entire lineup of enemies and your attacks, so you know what's coming. So what you have to try to do is, your character has basically kind of 3 moves. You can do a combo, which is just 2 normal attacks, which kind of pauses the enemy's progression a little bit. You could do a critical, which basically knocks them back down the bar and allows your characters to go forward. And you can cast magic and do special attacks that will really cancel things out. Now, in this bar, you have this little bit right here, which is like you're building up to the attack, and then you have your command spot here, and then you have another little bar that goes to the act. So when you put your command in, you do have a little bit of a wait before that command goes through. Now, of course, this kind of stuff, these kind of waits can be minimized by leveling up your skills and your magic, and it makes it basically, you know, when you first start playing it, you're going to see you have one skill that has a cancel effect. Now, you can get coins in this game to level those up, and if you get them, you know, maxed out, it's basically an instant cast. So my advice to you on this, if you really want to play this game and just decimate your enemies, those first skills that you get that allow you to cancel, max those out as quickly as possible. Because what those will do, you know, enemies will be in that act menu, and you'll be behind them. This is, I know, you're probably like sitting there scratching your head like, what? But you'll be behind them on the queue there, and when you put your command in to do like Ryudo's 10-second slash, as soon as you hit the command thing, he zips in front of them, does his attack, cancels theirs out, and knocks them clear back. So it's really fun to try and see if you can get perfect battles without getting hit. If that made any sense, congratulations, you're amazing. If not, just look up some battle videos of Grandia 2 or any of the Grandia games. They all use the same battle system, and you'll get what I'm talking about. And outside the battle system, there was a little bit of a problem, and it's a problem I've had with Grandia 1 and Grandia 2. It's just that in the overworld mazes and dungeons, I feel like I don't know where I'm going. I mean, the mazes and dungeons aren't like super hard to navigate. It just feels like, because you can rotate the map and stuff, it just feels like I get really lost really easily. I eventually find my way, because enemies don't respawn. They're on the map. You can see them and walk into them or avoid them. And they don't really respawn. So if you run into a spot that has enemies in it, you know you're in a new place. So that's kind of nice. This one had a radar thing where you can press Y on the Dreamcast controller, and it'll kind of, it won't really point you in the way you should go, but it'll light up a thing on the compass to show you where you're supposed to go next. It's a little bit helpful, but not too helpful. But you know, fantastic game. My game clocked in about 30 hours. So, you know, look towards 30 hours of gameplay with this game. You can, of course, do more. As you get to the end of it, it opens up this optional, like, it's called Rule Hill or something, where you can just go in and fight and level up and do stuff like that. So, definitely check out Grandia 2. If you don't have a Dreamcast, it is on the PS2, but I cannot vouch for the PS2 version. I've heard that it's a little glitchy in the graphics department. I haven't heard of any game crashing bugs, but I've heard of things where, like, when you do a skill, your character will turn completely white. I don't know why. It's kind of weird. You would think that Grandia 2 would run better on the PlayStation 2 than Dreamcast, since the PlayStation 2 is a lot more powerful. But, you know, I guess when you think about it, you know, these games are built for a certain architecture, and then when you port them to another one, they have to, there's a whole bunch of, you know, problems you'll have with that. But if you do not have a Dreamcast, this game is a fantastic reason to pick one of these little machines up. I don't have a huge Dreamcast collection, because a lot of the games for the Dreamcast you can, of course, find on the PlayStation 2 or the Xbox. You know, after this thing went down, Sega and all the other companies that made Dreamcast games quickly started porting them out to other systems to try to get some sales back in. But if you are ever thinking about picking up a Dreamcast, Grandia 2 is an excellent reason to pick it up. There are so many fantastic games on this thing. I really want my Dreamcast collection to be much bigger than it is. But, you know, if the only game I had for this thing was Grandia 2, this was a purchase well made. So, you do have that option. There's also a Windows version of Grandia 2, but I don't know how rare that is, and I don't even know how well that runs. So my advice to you, if you're interested in Grandia 2, buy a Dreamcast and get it on the Dreamcast. If you want to go the PlayStation 2 route, you can take that route, but I can't vouch for that game's integrity. This game, I never had one problem with it freezing, anything. The graphics were gorgeous all the way throughout. The only thing you have to deal with is how loud the Dreamcast is, because when it's reading those discs, it's very loud. But yeah, that is Grandia 2, guys. I really wish I would have played this back in the day. It sucks because back when this came out, which this was 2000, yeah. Back in 2000, I was a much more conservative gamer. Like, there were series that I liked, and I really didn't deviate too much off of that. And it's a really shame because I feel like I've really missed out on some big classics that I'm just now getting back to. And that the Grandia series is definitely one of those. I really wish I would have played these back in the day. But I got them now, I'm playing them now, and maybe I'll appreciate them a little bit more as an older gamer. So definitely check out Grandia 2, guys. Dreamcast, PS2. Just a fantastic game. I really wish it was a little bit longer than 30 hours because I was having so much fun with it. But I still have Grandia 3 over there, so part of me really wants to put that in right now and just keep playing that battle system, but I need to get through some other games first. So that is it for my Grandia 2, I almost said Grandia 3, Grandia 2 game discussion. Fantastic game, check it out. Next up on the queue is Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Saga 1. So I hear that's a lengthy game, so there probably won't be a game discussion video for probably about a couple, maybe 3 weeks, because I'm going to be going back to work here soon. Unless I put up my Tales of Eternia 1 for the PSP and I get that finished. So I think up next I'm going to do a video about music, because Leo Castell, did I say that right? Hopefully I did. Leo Castell 4 and I have kind of been talking about music a little bit, and he just put up a really long but kind of awesome CD collection video that he wanted me to do one also, which I don't know how I'm going to approach that because I have 600 plus CDs, so that'd be a really long video. But I think I'm going to do something a little smaller, a little bit more compact. So be on the lookout for that. And I think that's it. I always ramble at the end of these videos. I need to concise this crap up. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this. Hopefully you've either played Grandia 2. If you have, share some thoughts with me. If you haven't played Grandia 2, then I hope you go out and check it out. So I'll put up another video here soon. Thanks for watching. You guys take care.